Have you ever felt that whisper in your soul calling you to something more, but all the things spinning around in your mind have kept you stuck? Well, what if I told you that choosing excellence could be both easier and more adventurous than you could ever imagine? I am Chelsea DeBruin-Colbert, your host of All Things Excellence. I'm a soul catalyst for excellence who leapt off that corporate cliff and left small-town Iowa farm life in my 20s to follow my calling, helping women come home to themselves by anchoring into who they're designed to be. I create sacred containers where women rediscover their truth, design their dream life, and transform those whispers into action. Now you can find me running my business from the soccer sidelines as a coach's wife, hiking my favorite Arizona mountain, or back in Iowa with my family, or on an adventure chasing my next sunrise, hot cup of coffee and journal in hand. Through intimate conversations about the stories, the traumas, and the transformations behind choosing excellence, we're creating a collective healing journey together. I believe in diving deep into personality designs, experimenting boldly, and learning life's greatest lessons through our beautiful chaos. Every week, my guests and I are going to rip down the curtains so you can see behind the scenes of real transformation as we explore what excellence actually looks like. Not just the highlight reel, but that messy middle where the magic happens. Whether you're seeking inspiration to take that leap or already on your journey and craving connection, this is your invitation to join us. So grab your coffee, settle in, and get ready to discover just how close you are to the life your soul is calling you to create. This is All Things Excellence. All right, All Things Excellence fam, welcome back. To this week, we are talking about Enneagram 2s. And today, my really good friend Tiffanie, we've been friends for 7 years this month. Did you know that?
Is it this month?
It's this month. 7 years this month.
Ooh.
I met you at Ashley's and immediately became friends. And I had already learned about the Enneagram, and you just immediately dived right into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've been learning about being an Enneagram type 2 for the last 7 years. You've been on basically you've been on my master classes, my workshops, you've been on all the things. You also have been coached by me through the Enneagram. So I feel like for me, you are the person that I know that I've watched live your Enneagram 2 the
Yeah.
most. Yeah, the person that I know. So, okay, y'all, we're gonna meet Tiffanie. She's gonna talk about what she does, how that plays out in the Enneagram, how she found the Enneagram. So we're gonna dive into a few things. So first of all, you found it because did we start talking about it right away that day or on Instagram?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it was I literally think that it was that night.
Yeah, we dove in pretty fast and hard. We were like, let's go. We're talking about this.
Yeah.
And what immediately, because you were immediately pulled in by it. What immediately pulled you in by it?
First of all, I think like hearing you talk so passionately about it was a really big like she feels very strongly about this. Um, Hindsight 2020, obviously, because I can understand why.
You're also like
But
anything she's obsessed with at the moment, she actually talks
yeah,
really passionately about.
right.
So, I mean, I didn't know that at the time.
I also feel like when you need something the most, that's when something's put in front of you.
Oh, absolutely.
And that was, I was by far
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
wouldn't say unhealthy, and that I didn't even know that I
Mm,
was in such a place of unhealth because
yeah.
you don't know what you don't know until you know it.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's kind of what like caught my eye or like sparked my interest was like, I was looking for something so subconsciously that
Hmm.
when it was put in front of me, my entire core just like latched onto
Latched
it.
onto it.
And I think that's why I just dove into it and I couldn't stop.
Yeah. So our Enneagram 2s, these are our helpers, the givers. They're thoughtful, generous. They can be people pleasing. I think Enneagram 2s have some of the strongest struggle with boundaries because their deepest desire is to give and to be helpful, and they have a core need to be needed because they fear being unloved or unwanted. And so, how, knowing the whole boundary thing, also, what did you find most shocking? Like when you really started diving and learning about yourself as an Enneagram 2, like I always say as an Enneagram 8, the thing that was most shocking to me is, oh crap, people really experience me that strongly. I mean, like I knew that I was strong, but I didn't know it was that people experienced it. Like there's not like a transformer on the outside of the house and 10,000 volts or of electricity or blowing in and blowing up microwaves and light bulbs. Like I didn't know people experienced me like that.
Yeah.
Um, what did you find shocking finding out that you were an
Um,
Enneagram too?
so many things. I think that a lot of mine was more internal, in the
Mhm.
sense that like I obviously have a lot, twos have a lot of feelings, lots and lots of big feelings.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that those feel like I knew that those feelings were there, but I didn't know what the feelings were. I didn't have words or thoughts or like anything to like put
Yeah.
into context what those emotions and those feelings were. So like I
Mhm.
remember like reading the very first like chapter on like Enneagram 2 and I was like, "Oh my God, it's not just me. Like this is a thing." And I'm like, I didn't
Dude.
I don't know if you remember, but like that very first like week that I got that book and I was reading it, I was like it was like all of these thoughts and feelings that I had inside of me that I didn't
Yeah.
even know how to express. I didn't even know to know how to express.
Yeah.
It was like there are now words on a page that express this. And I was like, it was like the definition of mind blowing. My mind was literally blown up.
Well, and as it too, so Anna Marie said this last week for once. She goes, I know a lot of people don't want to be thrown in a box. And I'm like, well, only fours and sevens don't want to be thrown in a box. But no,
You're not
it
wrong.
yeah, right. There was so for you too, you experienced that where there was this sense of, oh my gosh, I'm not alone.
Yeah. And like for twos, it's like obviously through a lot of learning, like I realized that like one of the most important things is to really be seen. And reading
Mm,
words on a page
yeah.
and then obviously later on diving into podcasts and interviews and workbooks and all the things, like you truly learn that like being seen and like understood is like
Yeah.
I mean, there's no words for that feeling. Like there really isn't.
Empathy is
Like
big for you. Like to feel.
very much so.
So they always say the wounding childhood message for an Enneagram 2 is it's not okay to have your own needs. And so I think that when someone like maybe if you experience this way, it's like knowing, oh my gosh, I feel seen, I feel heard, I feel understood makes your needs now valid.
100%.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think you had this, I don't want to say overnight, but I do feel like you had this insane rocket explosion personal growth when you found the Enneagram.
I would 100% agree.
Yeah.
I would say that from the time I found it
Hmm.
within 6 months, I could easily look back and be like, I don't even recognize that person anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think that was? Was it so much the blind spots that you learned, or it was so much that for the first time in your life you really felt so seen and heard and understood?
100% it was both.
Yeah,
It was very much both.
both.
I remember, and even like, I'm sure we'll get into this too, but it's like so much of like my resentment towards people because
Yeah.
woof, I didn't
Well,
like
because you guys
again,
didn't
I
have the
didn't
strings
even
attached
know.
thing. Like the
And
strings.
that's exactly it. It's
Yeah.
like truly
Yeah.
like I was so frustrated
Hmm.
with so many things and there I mean,
Yeah,
looking
let's
back
talk
on it,
about
I mean
that.
there's
So people
yeah,
they didn't have
there's
strings. So you have a deep need to be needed, which causes you to be wildly helpful, but there is a part of you that then helps and does all these things with little strings attached in your brain going, okay, now when I need that back from like when need things, like y'all owe me back. And you don't
and then
mean to say you
and
owe
then when
me.
they don't, you are resentful.
Yes.
It's like, well, I did
Yeah.
that for you
Yeah.
and now you're not doing it for me. But you never have this actual conversation with anybody. It's all inside.
It's, yep, you keep it
It's
inside.
all internal.
Yep. And when a two no longer feels safe and secure, when a two goes into stress, they go to an eight. So then you're just a passive aggressive a-hole about it.
So much so.
I have been so excited to have this conversation. I was so excited to have this conversation with her. I forgot to ask her to have the conversation with me because I was so excited to have the conversation, knowing how great that it would be for all the twos in the world, but also anybody that has a two in their life. Just because you get it, you know what it's like to be a two so much, you own it so well, and you have worked so diligently over the last 7 years. How fun is that, right? The number of it is
Yeah.
finished, is when we're like literally the
Yeah.
same month. I know. I should look back at the
That's
day.
so wild.
I know. I know. So, okay, so over the last 7 years, you have been an employee, you have been an entrepreneur in those different places. How have you used the Enneagram? Either knowing
So,
your two or working with other people.
yeah, so I feel like no, like knowing the
Hmm.
Enneagram,
Hmm.
it truly helped me learn like why I need certain things out
Yeah.
of like a workplace and or like my business. Like my one wing
Woo,
needs
it's strong.
structure, very strong. I am very balanced in my wings.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.
I
You,
feel like
you are equally as
certain
achiever as you are a perfectionist.
yeah, but I feel like certain
Hmm.
points in my wings are very strong.
Hmm.
Like my like structure and my justice like aspect
Hmm.
of a one very like so like I felt like my one needs like that structure. It needs stable, it needs steady.
Hmm.
I'm
You're
also
also really
very
good at
much
proofreading. You see details.
proofreading. I'm a rule follower in a lot of things. And like so I feel like that's where that comes into play too.
Yeah.
But my three, it's also really important for me to
Mhm.
like feel and seem and like be successful.
Yeah.
Which is what that is. So
Yeah.
I feel like that was really important for me to have professional wins, like is really important. Which obviously I feel like it's automatic to assume that that's important for everybody, but not everybody, it really isn't
No,
important to
it
everybody.
really isn't.
So
But
yeah,
you
so
need
for
to
me, like that
feel that
was
success and you need that success to be noticed. You know,
correct.
I think that's the difference.
Yeah.
Like your wing three, like when we talk about, in the world of direct sales, my mom's like, you need to go across stage. And I'm like, do I have to? And you would be like, we're crossing stage. Like, let's
Hmm.
go. This is a good
Yeah.
time. Like, hey, y'all, I did
Yeah.
the work. Here I am.
You did the work.
And
Like
I'm like,
we
but I
want
know I
we
did the
want to
work.
recognize it.
Yeah, and I'm like, but I know I did the work. Like, why do I need to cross stage so everybody else knows that
Exactly.
I did the work? Like, I know that I did the work, and
Yeah.
I think that wing three is like, but I want everybody to know I did the work.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love the
And
rec up.
then
Hmm.
as far as like the rest of it goes, like for my two,
Yeah.
um, I obviously as a helper, I love to
Hmm.
help people. And I love like the most important part of like my business
Hmm.
is I get to help people look and feel amazing.
Yeah.
Literally,
Tell them what you do. What is your business that you own?
so it's a really weird like niche thing. I'm a mobile braider slash
Hmm.
stylist slash glitter things. My
Yes.
business is Shimmered. I do braids and like hairstyling, updos, things like that. Anything that is not a cut or a color.
Yeah.
For individuals, for parties, corporate, like events, all sorts of things.
It's a huge talent.
I
I don't know how you do it. It's incredible.
Yeah, so I'm fully mobile. I travel around. I like I said, I take on individual appointments, but I also do parties.
Yeah.
And so I like every single day that I get to do this job,
Yeah.
I am literally making somebody feel good about themselves
Mm.
because I'm shimmering their hair, or which is what you will see glittering in my hair. I'm shimmering their hair, or I'm braiding them for vacation, or I'm making a 5-year-old feel like a princess for her birthday party.
Oh.
It is literally a win
Mm.
every single time to my Enneagram 2
Yeah.
because I'm making them feel good about themselves. And
Well, and
that's
when a
where,
two feels safe and secure, they go to that four.
hmm
And so you're feeling that the feels of helping people feel unique and feel special.
yeah, yeah. And like
Yeah.
I also love that like it's never the same thing twice. Every party, every event, every appointment, every single one of them is different.
Mm-hmm.
But every single time I
Hmm.
am still helping them like feel great, look and feel great.
What was the hardest part for your Enneagram 2 building your own business? This is a new question. I didn't, sorry. I just thought about
Yeah,
it.
thank you for that. I was
I
like,
know.
this was
She's
not
like,
on the list.
this was not on the
You
list of
remember that
pre.
Enneagram or that wing one we were just talking about? This was not on my list.
When the
Um,
Enneagram 8 decides to start, let's just start with number 1 and then go to
no,
number 2. Like,
no, I'm just kidding. Okay, repeat the question.
so what was the most challenging thing? And I'm trying to think about back when you really were starting this business, if I can think about it even myself. What was, and I might go like, well, as a 2, I think you love being surrounded by people. But I was saying, as an Enneagram 2, what was the greatest challenge about starting your own business? Just
Asking
knowing
for
in your
help.
2ness.
Literally asking for
Oh,
help because
shoot. You had to
when
ask
you're
everybody for
starting
help, aka share help.
everybody. Yeah, like well not like not, there's so many aspects when you're starting a new business that like you can
Oh,
Google it and it is not easy. Like people who start a business who don't have people in their
it's
corner, I do
so
not know how you do it. Like I don't know if it is even possible for it to be done because
mm-hmm.
I asked everybody a
Yeah.
thousand questions. I have voice
Mm-hmm.
memos from random other vendors that I've met in the industry that I work in. Like,
Mm,
just like, what
yeah.
business banking account do you use? Why? Like, oh, like, how did you get your logo? Where do you print things? Like, who do you, like, all of the things. And it's
It's
like,
a lot. I mean,
it's
literally,
so much.
how do you set up your bank account? How do you set up your
Yeah.
business,
If you've
whatever, whatever?
never done it before, you don't know.
Yeah. Who is your accountant that you're using? Because online H&R Block no longer works for you when you
Nope, absolutely. That's not even an option anymore. Yeah, no, it was absolutely wild.
Yeah.
And
Oh my
I will say I'm very thankful in the sense that
yeah.
when I was in that process, I
Yeah.
think that I was just so much wanting to get it done
Hmm.
that I did not care what I had to do. And
That's
if
so
that meant begging on my hands and knees for somebody to help me,
yeah.
that's what I did.
Yeah.
And I did it.
Yeah.
And I was
You
like, I
did
can
it.
change anything later other than like my actual business name. That's
Yeah.
like my LLC, like that's like the most important thing, my
Yeah.
federal tax ID, all of that crap. Anything else can be like changed. That
Yeah.
was like the most like important part.
How proud are you looking back at yourself?
Honestly, I think I blacked out.
Okay, how long did you fight me? Because we kind of coached through this where I kept saying like
Okay,
I think God's guiding you to start your own business. I think God's guiding you to start your own business. Like I said it
this
till I
is
was not too blue
really
in the face. Like I was passed out. I passed
this,
out. I said it
this
so
is this is a really funny question topic because you were not the only one. I when people ask me because I get asked pretty much on a daily basis when I do
yeah.
these events, how did you get started in this?
Yeah.
And the answer is very randomly. I was working full-time corporate, like
Hmm.
never in a million years. If you
No.
would have told me
You did
two
not
years
want
ago,
to.
right now, that I was going to not have a full-time 40-hour a week benefits,
Hmm.
401k, healthcare paying
Yeah.
job, I would have called you crazy.
Well, and you loved
Um,
it. Like I even suggested you. I was like, "Oh, you're human design. You would do so great as an entrepreneur." And you're like, "No,
No, my
not
mom has
doing
been
it."
telling me for years, like, oh, you should. My
Yeah.
mom has always been an entrepreneur,
Yep.
and I've watched
Yep.
that struggle. So that's why I'm always
Mm,
like,
yeah.
no, like, I want the safety and security of like a steady job. And I'm like, and I loved it. I also loved what
Yeah.
I did. I like, had I not got laid off, I would probably still be doing it if I'm being completely honest.
Hmm.
Maybe not the same role or department, but I would still be in that world. I had very randomly decided to learn, like, take a little class on how to braid. And they were like, well, we're hiring part time. And I had like three other part time jobs, Mary Kay
Yeah.
included. And I was like,
Mhm.
sure, let's add one more to the plate. Why not? And I did. And then a month later, I got laid off. And
Mhm.
I was like, they were looking for people like they that had more availability. And so I got into that. And
And you got more
this
availability.
whole I got way more availability. And for the preceding 18 for the following 18 months,
Hmm.
I was interviewing, job hunting, hustling harder than I've ever hustled in my entire life,
Relentlessly. Yeah.
relentlessly,
Yeah. It was a full
nonstop.
time. You treated finding a new career like a full-time job.
Well, 100%.
You did.
Yes, I
Yeah,
did.
you did.
And it was like
Hmm.
in my mind, I'm like, there's like obviously like there's a great job at the end of this tunnel, like at the end of this tunnel. Like God has this perfect job for me. Meanwhile, all these other little birdies over here are like, well, why don't you just like do it on your own? Just do it on your
Hmm.
own. Just do it on your own.
Hmm.
And I'm like, but I don't want to.
And to
Like,
me, it was so
it's a lot.
obvious. I was like, God is
Yeah. And it was
obviously calling you to be an entrepreneur. Like, what sign are you missing?
not
And you're like,
obvious
I'm,
to me.
I'm not seeing. I don't even, I think it wasn't even that you were seeing them. You were like, no, God, actually not. Like, I know you think that's what we're doing. I'm telling you, we're not
Yeah.
doing that. And he was
Yeah.
like,
So what I tell
you
what I
are.
tell people now, funny enough, is I'm like, like
Yeah.
when God or like the saying what's like when one door closes, and not like a window opens, I'm like every door, every window, the whole dang house closed. And the only option was for me to leave that house and go into this one. And that's where I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Do
was
you
a
love it?
lot.
Do you love it more than you ever could have imagined, though, than when you were fighting doing it?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like I couldn't even tell you when, because I was still,
Hmm.
I would say in what, we're in May. So
Hmm.
even at like as of recently of January of 2024,
Hmm.
I was still job hunting. I was still interviewing.
Yeah.
And there was at some point in time when I was looking through job applications and like requirements and metrics and things like that, that I literally, it's like I cannot stress this enough. It is literally like a light bulb like flickered on, and it was like the thought of not having a Monday afternoon at 2 p.m. to go and like have coffee or lunch or whatever with my friends, or have, like I have like, or take a catering order at 8 a.m. on a Wednesday just because I
Yeah.
want to.
Yeah.
It literally, I was like, oh, no, no,
No.
I don't think that's what I want anymore.
Welcome
And
to
it
the
was like,
Entrepreneurs Club, where you're like,
yeah,
I will work 60 to 80 out odd ass
yeah,
hours a week by
hmm,
myself, and I will
yeah,
grind, and I will fall on my face, and I will cry, and I will pick myself back up just so I can
yeah.
have coffee Tuesday at 2 o'clock
Yeah,
when
like
I want.
100. It was like it was such a
Yeah.
wild thing for me, and I
Yeah.
think that it was like, I mean, honestly, like there's just,
So
it
beautiful.
was finally just, I mean, honestly, it was like my subconscious telling my conscious that like, hey, this
This
isn't
is
what
what we're
you're supposed
doing.
to be doing anymore. Yeah.
I love it. I love that for you because as me being who I am, could just see that you would love it, but it was such a resistance. And it probably maybe do you think a lot of it was embedded in that Enneagram too of if I really do this, if I really take that leap, I'm gonna have to ask for a lot of help. I'm gonna need a lot of people, and it's not okay for me to have my own needs.
You know, I honestly, I don't know how to answer that question.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you why.
Yeah.
Like, for whatever reason, I fought it so hard. I don't
Yeah.
even think that I was consciously fighting it
Finding
so
it.
hard.
Yeah.
And I really don't even know, like, if it was my safety and security, if it was my
Mm.
Enneagram, if it was my human design. I don't know which of all of the things that it was.
All of it combined.
It, yeah, like
I think
all
how
of the
our
things.
Enneagram experiences our childhood makes us go,
Yeah.
I don't want that, right? So when you grow up with parents that are entrepreneurs, you
Yeah.
can look at it and go, that is great, or I don't want that.
Yeah, right. Well, and I also like, I think also part of it for me was, obviously I'm not afraid to work. I'm not
No,
afraid to work hard.
no.
I will pull the gloves off and get down and dirty.
Yeah, you will.
I think that now that I'm like really reflecting back on it, it
Hmm.
just seemed like so much work for
Hmm.
potentially such a low payoff. And I'm like,
Mm.
what, like, why? When there's all of these other things that I can do to make money
Yeah,
and be stable and have like, like have my needs met.
401k,
Yeah,
health insurance,
PTO, like, yeah, all of the
PTO.
things.
How do you feel about that now?
There are days that I'm like,
Yeah.
I could very easily, there are days, not all the time, but there are days I'm like, I could walk away from this and just go back to afford it, like a
I
regular
mean,
job.
there are days I've been an entrepreneur since I was 24 years old, and before that, I really only have worked in the corporate world like 1 year of my whole life. And I I didn't even like work for people as a teenager. My parents were like, no. So I was like the number one babysitter. I was and running offices. And I could say today, even still, there are days where I wake up and just go, I wish I could I just wish there are days where I wish I could go clock in and out and just do very mediocre, below the bar work and get paid.
Yeah,
And I don't think that's bad. I think that's just being human and sometimes being tired,
absolutely, 100%. And I
right?
truly do think that those days definitely come from a place of exhaustion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So going back to the strings attached thing, where you would have the strings attached thing, like you would do these things for people and then you would feel like they should do the same for you.
Hmm.
How did you work through that? How did you work through that as an employee? How do you work through that with friends and family members? And how have you worked through that then being an entrepreneur who then needed to ask for all the help and then you feel like you have all these strings attached where you owe all the people?
Right.
Yeah,
Um,
that's deep. That's a lot.
yeah, no, it is. I think that like for me,
Hmm.
the biggest thing is like I've always been one of my like most overused phrases probably is I can't fix what I don't know is broken.
Mm,
And it was like once I knew what was I air quote broken because it's
yeah,
not that anything was broken.
yeah,
It was I didn't know it.
yeah,
And I didn't even know I was doing it.
yeah.
And so I think that once I learned that that's what I was doing,
Hmm.
I literally just told myself to stop.
Hmm.
And it's not like it never happens. Even still,
Yeah.
obviously. But at that moment in time, I mean, like lots and lots and lots of Enneagram work later, I realized that that's what I had been doing, and I'm like,
Yeah.
first of all, it's not fair, to the people, and it's not fair to me,
Hmm.
because the only person that that's truly hurting is myself by the friendships that I lost, by the resentment that I held.
Yeah.
I was the one that was like losing. And it was like just by stopping it, telling myself that if I am going to offer help, it is with no strings attached unless it's stated otherwise.
Yeah.
Stated, not thought inside my head. Um,
Verbally
very
stated where they are nodding their
verbally
head in agreement
stated,
and they
yeah,
know that
like,
this is part of
hey, yes, I will dog sit for you if you can also dog sit
it
for
for
me.
me.
This is a mutual exchange.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I because
Yes.
one of the common conflict activators is being taken for granted.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And that wraps into this, where you can feel like you're being taken for granted if you're not properly asking for what you need.
Correct.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Hmm. I can say as an Enneagram 8, I'm so I am so grateful that you learned so day one of our friendship that is a thing for you because I think it wouldn't have lasted. I think it would have taken
Oh no.
half a
We would
moment.
not we would not have any sort of communication
No.
if I
I,
would have
yeah.
never picked
You,
this up.
no, because you know me, like I have no, I don't, I probably have negative strings attached. Like it doesn't consider my thought, like you going, oh, I'll help do this. Okay, cool. It would never entertain my mind that you volunteering yourself or saying, me going, I need somebody to do this, and you saying yes. They would never entertain my Enneagram 8 brain that then I would owe you.
Like it doesn't even compute for you.
No, and not like because I'm selfish. My mom would always say, my mom, as a kid, my mom would always say, you're just so selfish. You don't think about anybody but yourself. You're not the only person in the world. And, that's her own thing. That's Barb's own things. She was probably listening to this. And she
Oh,
said,
Barb. Hi,
Barb,
Barb.
you said it. My mom said it. Those are, and those are her own childhood things with my grandma and both of her parents, honestly. But me as an 8, we really do just live in our own world. And it maybe, and it's, I think, yes, it can be to a detriment. I had to learn to stop and go, how is what I'm doing right now affecting other people? How might Tiffany take this? I need to make sure I'm stating it really clearly. Um, but also, I think it really benefits us because we just live in our own world. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
For the most part, sometimes to
I
my
will say the
detriment,
Enneagram has not hurt any of my friendships. It has
Mm-hmm.
only made all of my relationships better.
Hmm. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I'm thinking about silly things that we have that we both love. I feel like it helped enhance our friendship because we know things that the other person appreciates.
100%.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so speaking of one of the other common conflict activators, we could call them triggers, but we're going to call them activators, is feeling underappreciated or unappreciated.
Okay.
Kind of wraps into that. So how, because do you feel, what do you feel like your core love language is?
My what?
Your love language?
Receiving is definitely quality time.
Quality time. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Giving is gifts.
Yeah, you're a really good gift giver.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, yep, yep.
Um, or I mean, honestly, or acts of service. I think on,
Mm.
it depends on, it depends on the person.
I agree with you.
Truly.
As someone who
Yeah.
I receive with quality time and I give a gifts, it does depend on the person because sometimes I'll do
Yeah.
something for them because I love them, and sometimes
Correct.
I'll give
Yeah.
them a gift. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, so hmm, I think that's also hard, being an Enneagram too,
Hmm.
and your love language is quality time and feeling unappreciated or underappreciated, right? I feel like that probably plays
Yeah.
into that a little bit.
Yeah. It really does. I think
Mhm.
that a lot of times, maybe in like friend groups more
Mhm.
specifically,
Yeah.
or closer knit groups, um, things might not get done because they just assume that I'll do it. Um, and it's not that I have a problem doing it,
Hmm.
it's that it's just assumed and then it's
Yeah.
not appreciated.
Okay, so backstory, Tiffany has also been on my direct sales team for this same amount of time. 7 years
Oh my
in
God.
June.
In June.
In June. And I honestly, I can't, there's no, a, I can't even express how grateful I immediately was knowing that you were an Enneagram 2 and that I was an 8 in this specific part of our friendship. Because I remember saying to Kobe, I remember saying to my mom, I'm so grateful that I know that Tiffany is an Enneagram 2 whose need is to be needed. And so if I ask somebody to help, she's going to be the first person that would probably lead in and help because it helps her feel validated. It helps her feel worthy. There's the wing 3, her wing 1 wants to make sure that it's done well. She knows the level that I want things done. So she would step up to the plate with that. I mean, there's been so many times where I've said to Cody, like, why can't I just have Tiffany be my assistant? And he's always like, I don't know if that would be so good for your friendship because her two wing 1 would make sure that she did the bar that you expect. Like the two of you could be kind of toxic together. What would externally look great to other people, but we would go too far. We would just be so extra crazy together. And so I remember thinking, I'm so grateful that I limit what I would ask you on my end and making sure you really, really want to do this. This really excites you. You really want to go to this. You really want to be a part of this. You really care about this. Just being, I feel like as your leader in that realm of our life, it made me extra cautious and aware,
Yeah.
not overextend. Because I think if I didn't know that, it would be very easy to take advantage of
To
you.
take advantage.
So easy.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was, as your, you know, like mentor leader in that position, I was very grateful because I would never want to do that because then you would resent me and then that would not be fun.
Yeah.
You would
No,
leave.
for
You would have
sure.
left. Yeah. So
Probably.
always like as she was building her shimmered business, there was never a single day where I was like, you need to be doing this and you need to be performing in that way. Like never, ever.
Nope. Not literally, not one time.
Mm-mm. If anything, I'm like, no, you're fine. You're okay. Don't even worry about it. Are you sure you should be doing that? Are you sure? Uh, but I feel like the Enneagram did that, which then is, my 8 way of going, I care.
Facts. No, like honestly, and like that's like it's I don't know if I've actually even said this to you, but like I know that you not reaching out to me about those things
Mm-hmm.
is in fact you caring.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know it's so, like, it would be so easy for you to just text me and be like, are you going to order? Hey, you haven't ordered. Hey,
Are you
girl, you
gonna
going to
come
order?
today? Are you gonna be
Yeah.
present?
Are you coming? Are you, like, why aren't you coming? I really think that you should come. Like, it would be so easy for you to do it.
Yeah.
And you just, you know,
Mm-hmm.
where I am at mentally, personally,
Yeah.
professionally after 2024. Like, it's just not in the cards.
Mm-mm.
And
I don't
as
even
a
want to ask
two,
because I don't want to make you feel bad
what,
at the
and
end
I
of
was
the
just
day.
gonna say, like, as a two, like, you know that if you asked
Mhm.
and I thought that it was extremely important,
You would
I
figure.
would make it happen
I know.
at the
That's why
detriment to myself.
I like don't even ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Which and you know that. So she doesn't
I do know that.
you don't feel like, oh, she doesn't
Correct.
care about me at all. You know she cares about me
Yes.
so much. She's like not even allowing me to.
Literally, that's, I have actually had that thought before.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
haven't heard from Chelsea. It's because she knows I have a lot going on.
Yes. Yes. She's
And I
praying for
also,
me. She's just not
yes,
bothering me.
I was gonna say, I feel like it's also important to note for maybe anybody that doesn't know you on that extreme level
Yeah.
is that, like, if I ever need anything,
Yeah, I'm there.
personal, professional, you will respond.
Yeah.
Like, you're not just
Yeah.
like ghosting me, being like, see you in a year when you've like
Yeah.
figured your crap out.
No. Take the
No,
body to
it's what,
Mexico, bail me out of jail. I'm there.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, yes,
Yes,
very
absolutely.
appreciated.
Yeah, hands down. But I also, I mean, think about if we didn't have the Enneagram the last 7 years. Well, we wouldn't have made it. We probably wouldn't have made it 6 months.
We wouldn't have made it to a year. I wouldn't be on your team. Like, let's be
No.
real.
Yeah, you would probably not be my friend. You would be like, she's rude.
You would be the random girl whose husband was in a wedding I randomly attended and have pictures of. That's literally what you would
No.
be.
Okay, y'all. We got to back this up even further. The day before Kobe and I started dating on our date anniversary. So our date anniversary is we started dating June 26, 2010. But June 25, 2010, Tiffany and Kobe were at the exact same wedding back in Iowa. We all live in Phoenix now, but 15 years ago, it is their 15th anniversary.
Wild.
I know, 15
We
years ago.
we grew
Y'all.
up 15 minutes away from each other.
Yeah, with like a
Like,
triangle. The three of us grew up
yes,
literally like this
three
little
different towns, but in like, and like,
tiny
we're
little
all
triangle.
rivals. Like, yeah, little rival towns.
Yes, we were
Yeah.
close. We lived probably closer then than we do now because traffic.
We actually did live closer than we do now.
Yes, because of
Because I can
traffic.
make it to Alski in 20 minutes. And I for sure cannot make it to you in 20 minutes here with no
Absolutely.
traffic.
Not even without traffic. We cannot do that. And
No.
not even going the
Yeah.
85 miles an hour that people tend to go
No,
on.
for sure would not happen.
No, no. Yeah, so that's also a crazy thing. So Kobe's best friend, Nolan, that we talk about all the time, the Enneagram 5, who is the reason that I know about the Enneagram, that I really dove into the Enneagram. When at his wedding, the day before Kobe and I started dating, which I already knew him, yeah, Tiffany and Kobe were at the same wedding.
I have
That's crazy.
photos of, like, because I had like a digital camera. Those guys, just remember, it was
2010.
2010. Yeah. So, like,
I
I
know.
had a digital camera. I worked with Nolan's wife, Tashi. And I went to the wedding and I was like taking pictures, and like I think half of the people that went to the wedding, we all worked together.
Hmm.
And so, like, I was like taking photos, like, blah blah blah. Did not know. I went back after Chelsea and I met and we all kind of figured this out. I was like, well, wait a second. Like, first thing we do is we pull up Facebook, but, like, who's our mutual friends?
Yeah. Wait,
And
how do you know these
Nolan and
people?
Tashi are here, and we're
Yeah.
like, wait, how do you know them? And they're like, wait, that's our best friends. I'm like, oh, I was at their wedding. And she's like, Kobe was at their wedding.
Who is
So I
in their
pull up, yeah, yeah, in their wedding, yeah.
That's
So I pull up the photo album from from the wedding. Sure enough, there's pictures of Kobe
Yeah.
chilling.
On Facebook. It was so crazy. So we were
Still is
meant
on
to be
Facebook.
friends. Totally meant to be
Yes,
friends.
we
Always
were.
woven together. Um, yeah, I love that. Okay, so
Yeah.
next woman conflict activator, not feeling heard or listened to by others. You feel that?
I do feel that.
You do feel that. What have you done? What have you done with that? Like, I don't even know what to do. Like, how do you, when you don't feel heard by or listened to, like truly listened to by other people, what would you do now? Like, if I was talking to you and you felt like you really weren't, I really wasn't hearing what you were saying, I wasn't listening to you. How do you go about that? Or do you just, or do you have conversations differently with people? Do you ask different things of people, or do you just tell yourself something different in your own head to affirm your?
So, yeah, I think that it would like it for sure depends on like what the situation is.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, but for the most part, I would say I think my auto response is to step away from it. Like if
Mm,
I feel like I'm not being heard,
hmm.
I have to step away from whatever I'm not being heard about, and I have to figure out another way to approach it.
Yeah.
Because, and this is 7 years ago, me would not have thought this. I would have just curled up in a corner and cried about it.
Mm.
Probably, or not even realized it.
You wouldn't
Or
know.
exploded on somebody because I was such in
In
an
mode.
unhealthy place. Yeah. And now it's like more about like, how can I reframe it to
Hmm.
get what I am saying across?
Yeah.
Um, and it like I will use like I part-time work in a coffee shop. I can use that because there are some things that are like pain points. Every job, no matter what they are, there's a learning curve, there's pain points, there's all the things,
Mhm.
especially when you work with more than one person.
How do you
Um,
see that coming up for you in that coffee shop?
it's really hard,
Mm.
because now that I've been my own business and I'm in charge of myself,
Yeah.
it's really hard to just not like bulldoze everybody out of the way and take charge and do it myself.
Yeah.
Um, and all that
Especially if you work
does,
with younger people. You know what I mean? You work with
that
younger
is,
people who,
yes,
most younger people aren't all in with their job, even though it's a simple job,
correct.
getting somebody
Yeah,
coffee,
it's a
right?
part-time get like work through college kind of a job. Totally
Hmm.
understand that. To be fair, it's
Yeah.
also like that. It's not working through college, but it's that for me too. It's part-time, gives me some fun side, thing to do, and like fills in my time and my schedule.
But it feels that cut
Um,
because you like being around people, you like being
I do
needed,
like
you
being
get to
around
be
people. I
helpful.
also love coffee, so it's a win-win. Um,
Yeah.
so like for me, like there have been some things in the last like couple months that I'm like, okay, like this is an issue and it needs to be addressed
Yeah.
before I get so far past my point
Mm.
that I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you
and the
feel
first
this?
time,
Yeah,
go
this the
ahead.
Enneagram has taught you to. We always talk in my Enneagram classes, right? You've been
Yeah.
in all of them about the
Hmm.
rumble strips. Do
Yeah.
you're talking about when you're hitting the rumble strips on the road?
Yeah.
You're
100%.
okay.
Yeah. That's and so it was like the first time that we had that a conversation was had,
Mhm.
I felt like I was heard,
Yeah.
and then nothing was changed. Like nothing
Mm.
happened.
Yeah.
And so now it's been enough time where adjustments could have been made and they weren't.
Yeah.
And so now it's like you're hitting that second rumble strip. And so now I'm actually like in real time
Yeah.
going through the process of like, okay, how am I going to readdress this so
Hmm.
that it gets taken care of before I slam into the stop sign, like kind of a thing.
Yeah. Or drive off
If
the
we're
road.
using,
I'm
or
leaping
drive off the
over
road.
the rumble strips, and I'm currently
Uh-huh.
driving through the cornfield
Correct. Yeah.
because
So
we're from
that's like
Iowa, so it's a cornfield.
it is a cordial for sure. Yeah. So like that's kind of how I've
Yeah.
learned to go about it now is
Yeah.
like, if I say something and it's not, I feel like I don't feel like it was understood or heard,
Yeah.
I take a step back, I give it some time, and then I come at it again. And
Hmm.
I try to do it in a different way because obviously the first time wasn't enough
Hmm.
in
I
my mind.
feel that. I feel, because when a two is stressed, they go to an eight. So I probably get there a little bit quicker than you just being an eight. But I do feel what part of this conversation did you not understand?
Uh huh.
You're
Yeah.
just kinder about bringing it back around again. I'm like,
I
remember
also
when we talked about you were an idiot? You're still being an idiot.
still being one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do also I forget that the passive aggressiveness is my 8 coming out.
Mm.
Which is when you said that earlier, I was
Because it's
literally
erupting in you, but then you get passive about it. Because you're
that's
two. You're
literally I
two
was
makes you
like,
passive.
"Oh, I'm like, oh, that's where I'm at right now." I got now okay.
Yeah, that makes me
Now
insane.
that we know, it's like, okay, I can
Mhm,
address that.
mhm. Yeah, and it makes me banana pants when people are passive aggressive to me. I'm like, you can be mad at me. I don't give a freak, but like, say that you're
Yeah.
mad because I don't know how to fix why you're mad if you
Hmm.
don't tell me you're mad, and I can
Yeah.
tell you're mad, but you're
Yeah.
not saying why you're mad. So to it as
Uh-huh.
an eight, it's so
Yeah.
annoying. I'm like, just be mad, but say
See,
it.
and this is a conversation that I've literally had where it's like I will say,
Yeah,
"Hey, X, Y, and Z
yeah,
needs to be done.
yeah.
I'm working on ABC."
Hmm.
That is me telling you
Yeah.
XYZ needs to be done. Like I'm not sugarcoating it. I'm not asking you. I'm just saying this
Wait, say
needs
that
to be
again.
done.
Say, oh,
Okay.
you said XYZ needs done because I'm doing
And
ABC.
because I'm doing ABC.
So I would
And
say, you know how I would say that differently though? I would say
mm,
XYZ needs done and so does ABC. I'm going to do ABC. Are you good with doing XYZ?
okay, well, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, because they're
Okay.
like, yeah, it needs done. Here's what I've learned, blows my mind, blows my freaking mind. But apparently, most people, when they hear somebody go, hey, this treadmill needs to be moved to that side of the room, I'm going to move the Peloton to that corner, but the treadmill needs moved to that corner. They don't internally go, oh, you're going to move the Peloton, so I'm going to move the treadmill. Like for some reason, most people, that just doesn't register in their brain. So
Why
you
didn't we
have to
have this
say,
conversation like 6 weeks ago?
because you didn't ask me.
You're right, I didn't.
You forgot that I
You're
literally
right.
help people get
You're
clear on
right.
their
I
life and
didn't.
their conversations.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
That's on you. You didn't, you
it
know what?
is.
That's on
You're
you.
right.
You
It
did not
is.
state your own need.
So, so what happens?
So we're
What
going to do that
happens?
differently tomorrow.
We're definitely doing that differently now. No, 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 for sure. So what happens is I say XYZ needs to get done and I go work on ABC and then XYZ doesn't get done.
Yeah.
So then I just do XYZ too and then I'm passive aggressive about it because I
Because,
said this needs to get done.
yeah.
It didn't get done. And
Hmm.
in my mind, I'm like, I just asked you to do something. And
I'm gonna tell you what
I
I
guess
told
I
Toby
didn't.
about how he allegedly asked me out so many times
Oh
until
gosh.
you look at somebody in the eyes and say, I'm doing this. Can you do that? Because you should always phrase it as a question. Nobody wants to be told what to do, right? So I am going to restock the
They're
coffee
just
beans right now. I
they
need
have to
you.
be told what to do.
Yeah. Are you okay if hey, we need to restock the cups and the coffee beans. Is it cool? I'm going to restock the coffee beans. Are you cool restocking the coffee cups?
Yeah.
Like you gotta right now,
Yeah.
and then you really even need to say when. Like so, right now I'm gonna do that. Are you cool doing that right now? Because it kind of needs to be done
Hmm.
right now.
Yeah.
You not only need to make sure that they feel physically assigned to that task, but then you need to establish a timeline because your idea of a two wing one timeline is so different than their God knows what Enneagram type timeline.
I don't even care as long as it's done by the end of the day when we all leave.
But here's my thing: they maybe don't have an end of day timeline. That's what I'm saying.
This is
That's what I'm
that
saying. So before we
the
leave
this is
today,
that logic side of me.
I know you're wing. You
Like
want to know I know this because my friend Kelly is a one wing too, and
I don't
I
get
get
it.
in Kelly's brain. I'm like Kelly, I
Is
get it,
common
I
sense
get
not
it.
a thing?
Kelly says that a lot too. No, no, Kelly, no, common sense is not a thing. No, people,
Oh.
no, it's not common. Because you want to know why? Because what y'all are seeing, y'all ones and wing ones, what y'all are, Kobe, y'all, you too, what y'all are seeing and saying is common sense is not common sense. We're not actually talking about common sense. We're talking about responsibility. And as ones, wing ones, y'all take on so much responsibility. Enneagram 8, so much responsibility. The other 99% of the freaking world They are allergic to responsibility. So quite literally, no, it is not common sense to them because they're allergic to it. Because it is not common sense. It is responsibility, and they do not want it.
I'm gonna use that as a quote later.
Yeah.
99% of the world is allergic
To responsibility.
to responsibility.
Yes.
Got
I
it.
know. Caroline is going to make a reel out of that right there. It's going to be like, we have too much fun. Y'all, Caroline is my executive assistant. He makes this podcast happen, and we have too much fun with things like this. And I get to run in my mouth too far, and then she turns them into reels, and it's a good time.
Love it. Can't wait.
I know. Sometimes I joke, I'm like, is it do we have unscripted episodes or unhinged episodes? Nobody really knows. So
Who knows? Good question.
it's up for debate. Sometimes it's unscripted. It's actually pretty scripted. The episodes are pretty scripted always. It's just maybe unhinged. So unhinged is probably
Facts.
right. But we're dealing with the Enneagram 8, so this is what you got. Yeah, this is what y'all get. You chose to listen. Okay, so sensing. Okay, so let's talk about this. So another activator for you is not sensing that you are needed or wanted. Like you don't feel that someone needs you or wants you innately.
No, I would not agree with that.
Alive. Wait, what?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't agree with that.
You don't feel
I
that.
I don't feel that.
Do you
Yeah.
feel like you used to feel that?
No.
You've always felt like people want you.
I
Innate.
feel I feel like I have in always had like an intuition when somebody needs something.
Do you feel like your need to be needed sometimes overrided your need your I don't even know how to say that.
I'm like, I didn't follow that.
You know what I mean? Like you wanted to be needed so much that it overrided the insecurity that you may not be wanted.
That's very possible.
That was loaded.
That is that's entirely possible. Yeah.
And I couldn't repeat that again. So
You're right. Can we get a
can't say
playback
that
on
again.
that?
Yeah.
I I will say,
Hmm.
wording it like that,
Hmm.
there are a lot of times I would actually say I would probably say more often than not
Hmm.
that I still feel
Hmm.
not wanted because you can be needed and not wanted.
Exactly. Because the next
Yeah.
the final activator, the trigger, whatever, is feeling rejected or dispensable. Like, oh, they just need me for this one thing, but they don't really want me around, or I feel rejected, or
Yep.
you know.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
think that um and I don't even know if we've talked about this, but like I at the core of things,
Hmm.
I'm like if I don't bring something to the table, if I don't have something to offer, do people want
Hmm.
me around?
Yeah.
And that's the
Yeah.
core
Yeah.
of being an Enneagram too.
If I don't have something to give, do they really want me?
Do they really want, like, am I wanted?
Am I wanted? Just, and it is that, do people want me just because I'm me, not because I show up and do a lot and
Yeah.
offer a lot and fill the needs?
I feel like as a
Yeah.
person, I have a lot to offer. I
Hmm.
bring a lot to the table.
You do.
I do feel that way.
Hmm.
However, in the moments that I don't have something to offer,
Yeah.
I'm not able to help, I cannot give something, would they still want me?
Mm. Yeah. So what was that? I can feel her emotions. It's hard for me right now. Uh, what was that like, living example? What was that like for you then the last year and a half with our direct sales relationship then, where, you were bringing things to the table very scarcely, like whenever it worked out, right? What was that emotional process like for you going through that, going like, okay, I'm not really bringing things to the team that I used to bring to the team anymore. Does she still care that I'm alive? Like, what was that like for you?
I think that it's a lot different because I know you and
Mm,
like I know that you know me. And so I would never be concerned about that. However, I think I got to a point where I'm like, if for whatever reason she doesn't want me around or doesn't need me or whatever the case may be, because I cannot mentally, physically, emotionally contribute at this season. If for those that don't know, 2024 was the longest and worst and most traumatic year of my life in my 35 years of it.
Oh my
And
God. You just had a lot going on with job stuff and health, family's health
yeah,
stuff, and
just all the things.
anything that could go wrong went wrong.
Literally.
Yeah.
I could not. I honestly, like, I'm trying to think of even how to like phrase it. I couldn't care because I didn't have it in me to. Like at the end of the day, like first of all, I like in my like in the depths of me, I know that you would never be like, Tiffanie does not matter to me because she cannot contribute whatever. Because like you knew what was going on. Like you know that that's not like a regular occurrence. Like I didn't just fall off the face of the planet and like say bye, like never want to see you again.
Yeah.
But even if I didn't know that, I could not have brought myself to care because I was dealing with so many other things
If you were
that
in
like
stress mode, you didn't care.
the
I don't care.
most I honestly, I don't think I have lived in that 8 stress mode so highly since before I found the Enneagram. And it wasn't like because I didn't have the tools or the resources. It was because like when your bucket is full, like it has to go somewhere. And I'm like, there's tears. Tears can only let out so much of that bucket. And then the rest of it goes to the 8 bucket. And that's where I was
And
at.
then you're mad. And everybody knows you're mad.
And then I'm mad that I'm mad.
And I'm
then,
mad that I'm mad. And now I'm
none
sad
of
that I'm
it,
mad.
literally all of that. And like none of it is anything that I can control.
No.
All of the things are things that could not be controlled.
No.
There was no way to change any of the things. Like it's not even like a looking back on my actions kind of a like there's
Imagine though all the things that you went through last year with the job stuff and the family health stuff and everything. Imagine how you would have navigated that without knowing your Enneagram, without being able to sense when you feel safe, when you feel secure, when you feel good, when you feel stressed, without wouldn't have known your rumble strips. Imagine.
I would be in a mental hospital right now.
Or jail. Or both. The mental hospital
Or
in
both.
jail. Mental,
Yeah,
you're
one
just in the
like
mental hospital in jail.
no, like 100% truly.
Right?
Because
Yeah.
as I like obviously like loss is hard for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody experiences it, obviously. Grief is
Oh,
something that is universal. Everybody goes through that. But
yeah.
as a 2 who
Yeah.
had to experience that amount of it, and then not just
Like
like the
the more I
loss.
hear, the more I think about like the things that
Yeah,
like what just what? Like who
right?
what?
Yeah,
It was
like
just freak
it's not
accident, one
just
freak
like it's
accident
not
after
just like
another.
the grief and like the loss. It's
Yeah.
all of the things that go with it, all of the family aspects, going through a house, memories, journeys like down like memory lane, like
Yeah.
over and over and over again. Like had
Yeah.
I not been the mental person that I am,
Yeah.
I couldn't even, and like especially being like very like empath in the sense of like like
Yeah.
feeling the feelings like so highly of the people
Yeah.
around me
You do.
and all the things. I truly don't think I would have survived last year.
No. No. I do think this helped you so immensely. So, kind of on that, knowing that last year you had all those things going on, how do you prioritize your own needs when you're so focused on helping others? Because last year you had to help your family with everything with your grandparents, and you had to help your dad with everything that he went through. So, how did you, within all of that, still prioritize your own needs while being focused on being there for these other people? Were there
I've
like
gotten
things?
really good at saying no.
Yeah.
Um, One of my favorite like newer quotes is no is an entire sentence. I
I
don't
love that
owe
one.
anybody an explanation.
Hmm.
And while I feel like in my core, I owe somebody an explanation. I
Yeah.
don't.
No.
And I,
No.
through the last several years, have realized that like I can't help others to the level that I want to when I am not okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that,
Mm-hmm.
like I have to say no, or I have to offer a different level of help. I can still help
Yeah.
and not do it at 100%.
So then when you can't give your all and help others and you have to ask for help, receive help, ask for other people to support you within that,
Hmm.
what is the hardest part of that?
Asking. Like
The literal
it's
asking.
the literal asking.
Little
No, I
words
mean like obviously I
coming
feel
out of your
like
mouth.
it's so cliche, but I'm
Yeah.
like the fear of being told no.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I just said like no is a whole sentence. Like you don't have to give anybody an explanation. But like that also goes in reverse. Like if I
Yeah.
ask somebody for something and they're not in a position, all they
Yeah.
have to say is no, but like
Yeah.
they might not understand that it
How
took
much it took
everything in me
to be able to
to
ask.
even ask.
Mm.
And for them to say no, I
Hmm.
respect their no, but it also
Yeah.
destroys me internally.
I hope anyone listening to this that is a two or has a two in their family, I hope this helps them understand how hard that ask was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, and like the other side of it is like asking
Yeah.
and being judged for not being
Mm.
able to handle it all.
Do you get that?
That's,
Do
do
you
I
feel like,
actually get judged? No. Do I
yeah.
feel that I might be? Yes.
Oh, you feel so is that part of the hard part of asking is then you feel like they're judging you for not being able to handle your own shiz. Like, oh,
Yeah.
these people are judging me because I can't do it
Yeah.
because I can't handle it.
I want to be very clear. Not one person in
Yeah.
my friends or family group would ever judge me for not being able to
But you
handle
feel that. Like
my
you
crap.
feel it.
Yes. Yeah. But I feel
Yeah.
like I should be able to. And by
That's
asking,
that's your
I'm
wing
not.
one. That's your wing one.
Yeah,
Your wing
probably.
one is going, you should be able to do this. You should be able to handle this.
Yeah. I also feel like it's also part of my wing three in the sense of like I don't look like appearance wise. It's
Then you
like
don't
it's
have
an
the appearance that I
appearance.
have it all together.
Uh-huh. Yeah, 100%.
Oof. Ooh. It hits you all over the place.
Literally all three of them
Mm-hmm.
just stab me in the heart, man.
Mm-hmm. It hits you hard. It hits you hard. So what does, now that things have leveled out a little bit, what does self-love look like for you and how are you creating that in your daily, weekly life?
Sleep. I
Yeah.
build in days so I
Yeah.
can literally do nothing.
Yeah.
And I feel like Chelsea can attest to this.
Yeah.
2 years ago, like, I never took a day off. I didn't need
No.
a
I
day
I
off.
basically like begged you to take chunks of time off. Remember we would go so when I
Yeah.
coach people a lot, I have this weekly plan sheet. And I literally met with a client before this. She goes, I know, I know, I know. You basically demanded that I needed to not be coaching people after two and that I needed to take Fridays off. And I didn't listen to you. And I worked those hours anyways. And now I'm finally doing it. And I'm taking the afternoons off and I'm taking Fridays off. And I love my life and it feels so good. Like I have to just scream and pass out to get to y'all to chill.
Okay, but I will say it's very different because
Yeah.
I feel like prior to 2024,
Mm-hmm.
I actually my self-care and my recharging
Yeah.
was doing things,
Yeah.
was being with people and
Because you
doing
worked
things
at
that I
home
had
remotely a lot.
because I worked at home. Yeah, I was working at home remotely. I didn't really have like social outings. Like my version of self-care and like recharging
Mm-hmm.
was being with my friends or
Mm-hmm.
doing concerts and events and all of the
Mm-hmm.
things.
Yeah.
And post 2024, because grief and processing and doing the work
Yeah.
takes so much out of you mentally that it also takes it out of you physically because you physically have to like process it.
Mm-hmm.
um and I there like I have to
Mm.
physically, there are days that I'm just like I have to stay in bed the entire day
Yeah. I
or I
love that.
cannot get through a week
Yeah.
because I am so tired.
Yeah.
My body is so tired because
Yeah.
my mental
Your
is
people
so
bandwidth.
exhausted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're also in the study of human design, you're also a projector. So you're meant to be a guide, more of a guide and a teacher. And so that hardcore head down doing just zaps you
100%.
quickly in that as well.
Yeah.
I love that you're saying that because I always say to people, my entire career, all my businesses are with people. And if I have a free Friday night, no offense to anyone on the planet, the last thing I want to do is be with any of you. I want to be alone with myself and my own thoughts and a can of LaCroix and a good Netflix movie. A lot of times Kobe and I are home alone. We're not even in the same room. He's in his office, I'm in the living room, I'm in the bedroom because we
Yep.
are so tapped out from people because we do nothing but people a million hours a
Yeah.
week
Hmm.
and do you get that? Like you get that now.
I mean, like, I feel like I always understood it, but
Yeah. But
I never
now you're
needed
like,
it. Yeah. Now it's
and
like I feel like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
now that I'm career wise in a different place,
Mm-hmm.
mentally and emotionally and physically, I'm also in a very different place. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like
Hmm.
my needs have changed because of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here's some permission, y'all. Here's the permission to, and I always say it's like the permission to put myself first, because here's the deal. If I don't put myself first and I don't have that time alone, I am a very overspent, tired, cranky Chelsea. I don't like her, and she is good for absolutely nobody. So it's like for y'all's own sake, to keep y'all alive and to keep me out of jail, I gotta be alone. Okay? I don't want to hang out with you.
Hmm.
Not you, but
I know what you mean.
which is also hard because we both share that love language of quality time.
Hmm. It is.
It is a weird thing. I would say in my head, in theory, I really want to go hang out with these people, with these friends because I love them and I love spending time with them. But then when I finally get to do it, the actual application, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Why did I do this?"
Yep.
I just need to stare at the
Yep.
wall.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I hear
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Do you ever just drive in the car without the radio on even?
Oh, I honestly, which
Yeah.
this is going to sound
You
so
love
funny because
music a
you
lot.
know how much I love music. You know how much I love my radio
I
people
do. I
and
do.
my winning and all the things.
I do.
I honestly, I almost never have the radio on anymore.
Because you just need silence.
I just need nothing.
Nothing. Literally, I just need me,
There
myself, and I, and God, and like that's enough people.
there
There's enough
are
people on the
there are days that I come home from work and like like I'll get off and I'm home by like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I
Yeah.
still have like my whole evening
Yeah.
and I will literally lay on the couch with Alhina in
Yeah.
complete silence. And if I don't fall asleep, I literally just lay there and do absolutely nothing.
I know. And it feels
Just
so
I
good.
just exist.
Yeah. And it feels so good.
So
I
good.
I love that you are giving yourself I love that you're giving yourself the permission to do that.
Yeah.
So, okay, so with that in closing, what advice would you give to people that have twos in their life? And then what permission do you want to give to your fellow twos?
Okay. So I
Yeah.
thought about this
Ah.
long and hard. So for permission,
Yeah.
um, you have permission to exist.
Hmm.
You have permission to take up space. You have permission to have needs and to state them out loud. I feel like that's very important to put there. And you have permission to enforce boundaries because you have to place them and you have permission to enforce them. And
I'm so proud of you.
I feel like when I thought about this, like when I read this question and I thought about it, I went back to 7 years ago me, and
Mm,
I'm like, what? I wouldn't have even understood what
yeah.
those things meant,
No.
but those were the things that I would have wanted to have been told.
Yeah.
Because I feel like through the Enneagram journey, that's what I have struggled with.
Yeah.
when I was like first like going through it.
Yeah.
And then for advice for the other people, the
For advice
the
for
non
anybody
the
that knows it
non
too, or might
the
know it too.
non-twos in our lives, um, say thank you.
Hmm.
Um, tell them how much you mean or how much they mean to you and how much you appreciate the
Mhm.
absolutely little tiny microscopic things that they do.
Mm,
I mean, it could literally be that they picked up a plate off of the table
yeah.
and just say thank you. That it doesn't go unnoticed. Um, and also we kind of already touched on this, but don't assume
Mm,
that something that something will be done or that they will do something just because they've always done it. Just
mm,
check in.
I
More
love
than likely, they will do it,
Yeah.
but ask them.
But
Give them the
give them the
option.
space to no longer
Yeah.
want to,
Yeah.
right?
100%.
Because most of them aren't like you. They're not going to state their need. They're not going to ask to not have to do it anymore. Or if they grow and they change and now they realize that they don't like that anymore and they don't want to do it, they maybe don't have the courage yet to
Yeah.
say, I don't want to
Yeah.
do this
And
anymore.
I now that we just said that, I want to add something to the
Yeah.
twos. It's okay to
Mm-hmm.
accept help.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. If somebody asks you if you want them to do something,
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to say yes, and it doesn't mean that you can't do it.
Mm. It's okay to change your mind.
100%.
Want a thing
So
that you
much.
once loved and enjoyed and loved helping, it's okay that you no longer enjoy that anymore. So,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. Y'all,
Whew.
this has been so good and so fun. And I wish there was a video montage. There probably actually is in the archives, to be really honest. A video montage that we could create of just the evolution of both of us getting to grow together in our Enneagram. So many things that you've worked through and coached through. And I wish we had recordings of the conversations where I was like, I think you should consider this. I think you should consider that. And you'd be like, no, not doing it.
I think we have it all via text message, but they can stay buried.
They're there. They're there. I
They
am
do in fact exist. They can
the
just
receipts.
they can stay unseen.
They can see it. Yeah, the receipts exist. We'll just say that. But
Yes.
I'm just so proud of you for stepping up and owning who God created you to be, even though it was really hard, and even though you had to get crazy vulnerable and you had to ask for so much help from everybody, because you have always been every single person's number one cheerleader. So you, of all people, deserve for everyone to be your number one cheerleader. So it's been very fun to watch you. It's been so cool. Just so proud of you. Kobe and I we pre-talked about everything. You know this. So
Everything.
yeah,
And
really
everyone.
everything and everyone. We talk it through together. It's my favorite thing about our marriage. And so just us talking about this, I said, I don't know anyone in my life that I have personally got to help guide through their growth journey on the Enneagram, the magnitude that you have, because you're just so coachable, and he, of course, agrees.
No, I'm just kidding.
You're just perfect, and you're perfect. But you're so coachable, and where most people, if I bring blind spots to them or suggestions. It is honestly, I was teasing her, but it was very rare that you would really shut something down. You take a blind spot better than, I mean, almost basically anybody I know. You know, you'll at least own it and consider it and think about it for a couple weeks,
Yeah.
and then we'll come back to it. So
Yeah. I
thanks.
mean, I think that just circles back to the like I can't fix
Fix
what
what
I
I
don't know is
don't.
broken, and it doesn't mean that it's easy or it's fun and it's not hard.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but at the end of it, and I also think that part of that is
Hmm.
knowing it's coming from, like, if it comes from you
Yeah.
versus somebody that I don't know as well or that doesn't know me as well, it
Yeah.
does not matter how well intended
Mm-hmm.
it is. I might not receive it the same way because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what those intentions are. I don't know the place it's coming from.
Yeah.
With you, I know that you are never going to point something out or give me feedback or give me coaching in an attempt to harm me.
Yeah, no, I'm not
It is
complaining. Yeah.
always only from a place of
Mm-hmm.
betterment.
Yeah.
And I know that because we've built that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, okay, y'all. So all of her links to her social medias, all the things. If you're ever here in Arizona, but you also travel, like you've gone to Disney
I
and done
travel.
those things.
I
She
went to
travels.
Disney. I go to Iowa.
Yeah. Yeah, she's
California is just a quick
yeah.
little drive.
You were always down for a good adventure.
Oh,
You
wait. Oh,
do
100%.
travel. Yeah, she's always down for a good
If it's a good
adventure.
enough adventure, Chelsea might come with me.
Yeah, yes, we are the adventure queen. So there's just that. What is our basic need? Our basic need is fun and adventure. Okay, like we do share that. That's a big one. We share quality
Hmm.
time. We share fun and adventure. So she does travel. So all of her links, her booking links are below. If you live in Phoenix, obviously Arizona, she's literally here all the time. This is where she lives. But also we both are back in Iowa a lot. Yeah, so are you. But yes, you can pay her. She can travel in. She's done events all over the country. About to go to Europe, so you never know. You might be able to meet her there. And
Maybe.
uh, if you are curious about your Enneagram type, of course you can take the crappy little quiz, but y'all know we believe in ditching the quizzes and doing an actual Enneagram typing session, which you can do at chelseadbc.com/Enneagram. And you can find that secret listener only link to be able to book a typing session with me. Tiffanie, thank you
Thank you.
for everything, for taking a chance on
Thank you for
yourself.
everything.
Yeah. Always. I'm always in your corner. So,
You are.
always in your corner. All right, all things excellence fam. Until next time, next week we're going to bring you the threes, which is going to be very fun. It is a former client of mine that I've worked with to help her find her Enneagram, to help her find being an Enneagram 3, and she works in the corporate world. So we're going to see what it is like for an Enneagram 3 to be an achiever inside the corporate world. So, until next time, thanks for listening.